Let me say this. Sometimes growing up as kids, we say some stupid stuff and we do some stupid stuff. I just want to say, I want to apologize to all the people that came from Africa to America to explore their dreams. And if at any point we as African Americans made you feel some type of way, or we teased you as a kid, or did not understand, it was because we were taught and we were made to believe that you guys weren't our friends. You guys were beneath us and belittled. We were taught to belittle you, and Africa was full of starving people and poor and all the things by America, this America. So I just want to say, I'm so sorry, deeply sorry from all of us. Sorry.
Greetings everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. And in today's episode we're getting to see that Black Americans are finally coming out to apologize to Africans after the constant online feuds that has been involved between these two communities. Kindly watch the rest of this episode while I come with my commentaries at the end of it, and don't forget to hit the like, subscribe and the share button.
To my African family on the continent or around the world, I just want to apologize. I want to apologize to y'all for this rogue group of African Americans who are trying to delineate themselves from the rest of the race. I want to apologize to y'all because they do not represent the majority of us. They are just a slim minority of us that have this radical thinking where they want to be all by themselves. So I just want to apologize. I want to tell y'all, most of us do not think like them. Most of us are not on the same page with them. Most of us don't even associate with them because they are just a fringe radical group that is trying to sow seeds of discord within our race. They're not about unifying with anyone or anything unless you identify with their thought process. So in my eyes, they're just doing the work of the CIA. They are the new black terrorists that's trying to divide us and keep us separated. You realize they never talk about unity among us as a race. They always just talk about delineating and of this special class and this, but yet they always talking using Republican talking points. But at the end of the day, man, we're not gonna worry about them. For those of us that's out here in the field, out here doing work, we're gonna continue doing our work. We're gonna keep pressing forward. We're not gonna pay attention to the haters. So for any of the family that feel disrespected, understand that that's just a minority, a small minority.
What's up, everybody? So I know a lot of people has been watching my different videos, Nigeria versus America, bedroom conversations, car conversations, and all of that. And a lot of people have been getting really, really heated, not just over my videos, but videos that's been posted all across TikTok and online, period. I just want to say that a lot of people, not everybody listens, pays attention to things that people say or express, so they don't understand what you're trying to convey. There's other people that the only thing they hear is the negative, is the negativity that you say. And there's other people that pay a little bit more close of attention, and they'll say, okay, I get what you're trying to say, but maybe you shouldn't say it this way, and maybe you shouldn't do it that way. Some people can take constructive criticism. Other people don't want you criticizing them at all, and they don't give a damn what you say. I think that I'm a firm believer of three things. If you're my friend, tell me the truth, whether if it hurts or not. If you're a family member and you're even closer to me and you're my blood and you're looking out for me, tell me the truth, whether it hurts or not. Number three, if you are a stranger and you feel some type of way, but you want to convey what you're trying to say in a constructive way. I don't want to say positive or whatever, but you just want me to understand how what I'm saying may be coming off. By all means, say it to me in a respectful way, whether it hurts or not. Now, when anyone, and I'm not going to say you people, I'm not going to use that word. I'm going to say anyone. When you say or convey what you're trying to say in a disrespectful way, it's not going to come off good. No matter how you say it, it's not going to come off good. Let me be clear, crystal clear. I want to be crystal clear. Any videos that I do is not to disrespect anybody. It is not to disrespect anybody. It is to try to make you understand that there is a problem and that problem affects other people. The same way you want to make me understand that the things that I'm saying affects other people and it might hurt their feelings. So I get that. We can agree to disagree. That's not a problem. We can agree to disagree. But some of you don't even understand that. You don't want to agree to disagree. You just want to fight because that's what you're used to. You're used to fighting. Let me tell you something. I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter too. I'm used to fighting. If you disrespect me and you say something and I'm not feeling it, guess what? I'm going to hit back. And, but that's just going to keep us fighting. We're not going to solve the problem. We're not going to solve the issue. We're not going to be able to rectify anything. And we damn sure are not going to be able to move forward. And I want to move forward. I definitely want to move forward with everybody, you know. I'll say this again, and I don't want to keep repeating myself. There is problems all over the world. America has problems too. A lot of fucking problems. A lot of problems. And I understand and I get why it gets heated when we talk about Africa, especially Nigeria. I understand it. But I truly, truly would like to see things get better. And whatever I can do to help, I'm going to do to help in my own way. You can't inbox me and say, well, can you give me money? You can't inbox me and say, well, if you do X, Y, and Z, or if your people did X, Y, and Z, or if America did X, Y, and Z, because I ain't got shit to do with them. What I have to do with is moi, is me, okay? Is me, Mrs. Obaharaji, okay? I focus, I look out, I take care of, I support, I encourage me. And whatever it is that I choose to do to help somebody else, that's my business. And that's what I'll do. And if I decide that I don't want to do it and I don't feel like doing it and that I'm not going to do it, then I won't do it. But I want to be a solution to the issues, to the problems, not a cause. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other people who stand beside me and stand behind me as well. I've seen now the videos that are blowing up and going out of proportion is the young guys that's dating much older women. The younger Africans that's dating these 20, 30, 40 plus year old. Let me tell you something. My son is 37 years old. Okay, that's my oldest. My youngest son, which are my twins, they're 18. They'll be 19 soon. If any 20, 30-plus-year-old woman came at them, I would be pissed. I would, honey, you talking about Mama Bear? So I get that. And what we have to do is find a solution, because for these young African men to do that, they don't see any other way. And you know, at some point when they get in their 30s and their 40s, they're going to want a family. They're going to want their own children. These women have children that are their age. I can't see laying down with a child that's the same age as one of my children. I just can't. But some women don't have a problem with that. So there's issues after issues, problems after problems, but what we're not doing is finding solutions. And that's what we all need to do. We need to come together and find solutions. Now, one more thing I want to say before I get out of here, and that is any African, any Nigerian, any Ghanaian, any King, wherever you from in Africa, if you feel that me, because I'm a grown-ass woman, a grown-ass lady that could take responsibility for my own actions. But if you feel in any way that I disrespected you, your culture, your country, your family, your city, your state, wherever it is that you're from, I sincerely apologize. I sincerely apologize from my heart, because that was never my intent. Never my intent. I'm married to an African man, and I love him dearly, and I love his family dearly. I love Nigeria. I love Africa. And it was never my intent to disrespect anybody. I want to help, and I want to find a solution, and I want Nigeria to be the best that it can ever be, and including all the people in it. I love you guys. And you'll see more videos, controversial or not. We're going to talk about it, and we can agree to disagree. I love you guys. Ta-ta for now.
Part 2 of the African American apology to the Zulu people. I apologized because I felt like it was necessary, right? Shaka Zulu put it down. He has descendants. In fact, I've been looking for them, to be honest, and I'll get to that later. But if we have insulted someone in some way, then just the natural reaction would be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. What did I do wrong? How can I fix it? How can I make it better? You know? The New Orleans folks, they weren't intentionally trying to be disrespectful. And the Zulu man that I saw responded beautifully by saying, hey, thank you for acknowledging us and having this parade and all of that, but let's just get it right, okay? I woke up like this. Let me show you how to do it. This is real authentic Zulu, so let me show you how it's done. And I know that back in 2006 and 2008, I know now, that the Zulu tribe did go down to New Orleans and participate in that parade, and it looked authentic and amazing. But somewhere along the way, it went left, right? So then an apology was necessary, especially to calm all this crap going on, because there's a bigger issue at hand that affects all of us, and all of us come from Bantu tribes. I know my history, my DNA, my lineage, migration patterns. I have studied this a long time, trying to get to the root of racism, and I've certainly found it, and it lies with Satan, period. And so does division, right? Number one tool. And the outrage sparked when the young South African gal, likely in her 20s, did the most hateful, disrespectful, ratchet, and ignorant video disrespecting all African Americans, including California. Baby boo, that is not how you crip walk, okay? That is not a crip walk. That was the first thing I noticed. It's like, what are you trying to do there? Bigger issue, though. She wished death upon all African Americans by saying, you know who's not going to stop? The popo. The popo not going to stop. And that's a very sore subject for us to be hit by, right? Like, the police brutally murder us for sport, and they get away with it, and they get celebrated. In fact, civilians, we are so hunted in America. The life expectancy rate of a black man is 25. That's my cousins. That's my whole family. Okay? You hit a nerve with that, boo. That's what you did do. And so all African Americans saw that. And because we're fighters, the majority of us are from the tribe of Judah. We're fighters. That's why we've survived and thrived this long, despite having feet and knees in our neck, right? And that is what caused the outrage. And all of the Harriet Tubman, the only other person that is attacking Harriet Tubman right now is Donald Trump. Okay, and even when he, in his most recent attack on Harriet Tubman, did that in a way to incite us to get us out into the streets so that they can have an excuse to just unloose and unload on us, kill us and bring in martial law, right? The same Donald Trump that gave the Boers and the Brits is attempting to give them refugee status in America because there's a white genocide happening, right? Because Cyril Ramaphosa decided to do the expropriation without compensation, which I think is a beautiful thing, all right? It's a good start. I'm down with Julius Malema, though, EFF all the way. Now, that aside, that South African gal is likely in her 20s. I'm 46. There's nothing you can say to insult me. I'm just so past that. You know, sticks and stones, baby. I'm so much of a warrior. You would have to come so much harder to get me in my feelings. Okay, I'm not gonna get out my feelings for someone in their 20s or their 30s who is truthfully ignorant. Right? Ignorant meaning you don't know. You just don't know. Because if you knew, you wouldn't behave that way. And she does not represent the over 55 million South Africans here. There are a lot of mature, grown adults who don't ride that way and definitely don't teach their children to behave in that manner. What I have seen is that they are some of the most respectful people I have ever had the honor to be around. The kids, they're all over all the time. All the friends' kids are over, and they're the most respectful children. I mean that. Speak multiple languages. Intelligent, delightful, innocent, beautiful children. I know they don't rock like that in South Africa, so stop taking on this approach that she represents all of South Africa. She doesn't. And I'm going to take it a step further and say, young lady, I hope you see this, because I forgive you for everything you said and everything you did. I forgive you. I'm not going to speak for everyone else, but maybe I can lead by example. And I literally mean that. I know what it's like to be in a slump, to have a bad day, to have a bad month, to just be in an overall funk. And when you're hurting people hurt people. Because you're in a good mood and life is going great and everything is wonderful, you're not going to do that. You're just not. You respond like that when you're going through something. I'm a mama, okay? I have a daughter in college about your age. So I understand, I overstand. And I forgive you. And I hope that you would stop allowing Satan to use you, okay? Because this isn't good, okay? Now, there are multiple injustices happening in South Africa that parallel injustices happening in America. For instance, the gal who wore the Harriet Tubman costume, picking cotton and, saying, oh, my braids, I lost the map to freedom. Where's the Harriet Tubman out here in South Africa? I'm looking for her someone bold and brave enough to trailblaze and get South Africa up out of this economic violence. If you ask me, that's what it is, because the whites absolutely own everything. Okay? And then the unemployment rate is the highest in the world here. It's ridiculous. And then the whites exploit that. And with the minimum wage being Rand 18, which is 96 cents an hour, you can't, they make it so that you can't even complain or you'll just be replaced. They treat black people and employees like shit. I see it. It boils my blood every day. That's why I had to leave Cape Town. So I was like, I can't even stomach to see this vast economic wealth divide. It's not even wealth divide. It's rich and pizzor. It's not cool. So our slavery in America is the police brutally murdering us and rounding us up in for-profit prisons on trumped-up charges in for-profit prisons. Modern-day slavery. South Africa. Just being employed is being a slave. Period. Even if you're above the minimum wage, employers still don't pay fairly for what someone's actual skill level really is. They enjoy watching black people suffer. They want apartheid back and have no problem saying it, because I sit down and I talk to these white people all the time. I have good conversations with. I make people think and try to force them to see reality, which is, it's like they're narcissistic gaslighters. They truly believe in their heart that they are indigenous to Africa, that Africans were born to be their slaves, and that they own everything. And you can't convince them otherwise. They want South Africa without Africans. And there's a viral video going around on Instagram. I saved it just in case it ever got erased. I have all of them saved on my phone. And it's of a Boer, because I know that the accent. And he is admitting to this team, this organization, this wolf in sheep's clothing group that not only infected South Africa with AIDS, but the whole southern region of Africa with AIDS through inoculation. They tricked Africans and infected them with AIDS. And now the highest group of people in South Africa with AIDS are 14-year-old girls to 40-year-old women. So on a Google search, just Google it up. 1 in 4 black South African women has AIDS. I feel like I'm the only one pissed off about it. I feel like I'm the only one that is like, let's find this man. Where is he? He just admitted it. He's right there. He named names. He dropped all the names. The video's out. We all seen it. Where he at? Let's get him. I don't see any smoke coming for that. I mean, South Africa has some of the absolute most beautiful women you will ever see in your life here. Period. But I can't help but to think that every time I'm looking at a South African woman, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Someone has AIDS. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of these beautiful sisters, my sisters, has AIDS and is living with this secret. And that's effed up. That pisses me off and breaks my heart. In America, the number one way that black women are killed is in the hospitals. Because what South Africa may not know is that every system set up in America is designed to absolutely kill us, destroy us, period. And they're after the womb of the black woman. Duh. You know, they want to get rid of black women. So they do it during childbirth, is how we die in America. It's the same thing. Same monster. Same monster, just a different tactic. We going through the same things. We're the same people. Us fighting each other is not going to solve the problem, right? America is on its way out, if you haven't noticed. One of the reasons why I left. I couldn't take the trauma anymore. Lots of reasons why I left, but the Most High definitely led me right here. He ordered my steps here specifically on purpose. It was deliberate and intentional. What I've observed and been paying attention to since I've been here is that a lot of the problems that South Africa has, a lot of the challenges, African Americans can actually solve easily. Our skill sets, our talent, our expertise, our drive, our work ethic, our resources, the 1.2 trillion annual that we have, our buying power, our skills in massive agriculture. I mean, literally. I was like, how can I get this to still remember posted? Like, okay, go ahead. You take the Boers and the Brits. Go ahead, send them, let them go. And then give refugee status to African Americans. Because we can solve a lot of these problems real fast. Things will get handled immediately because we don't play. We handle business. We're not on lag time. We own time. We're ahead of time. We can we have what it takes to solve problems. Here in Africa, oh my gosh, this is where we belong. I've never felt so much peace. Police violence does not exist here. South Africans don't even know anything about, they have no idea. It's not in their world here. They have other problems, but it ain't police violence. That's for sure. And I haven't even seen any violence since I've been here. I lost all the weight ever without even trying. I eat the same food. I lost all of my fat. It's just gone. I'm trying to get some back. I no longer have IBS. I used to look pregnant because I can't digest that food in America. I cannot. I can now. My stomach's on flat for the first time in my freaking life. I'm like, woo, okay. It's peaceful. You don't hear sirens all the time. It's just cost of living it will blow your mind. This is where we belong. We need to come back home. And people are loving and welcoming, and there's a thing going on YouTube that South Africans don't like us. That's not true. Ain't nobody tripping. Folks are minding their own business is what they're doing. They are. No one really even wants any smoke. You don't hear people yelling out, calling people out their neck. You don't. The only ignorant thing I've ever seen was that South African girl doing that video. I hadn't even seen anybody. I didn't even know they had it in them to do it. I was shocked. I was like, damn, okay. Were you paid to do that? Because that seems out of order for South Africa. Listen, Trump just stripped away civil rights for African Americans. He's been gunning for us. Since he got in, he's just gunning. We ain't moved off our stance. Now he's coming for Ibrahim Traore, right? They know damn good and well that African Americans can solve the problems here in South Africa. The Brits and the Boers want to divide South Africa and keep the Western Cape, right? It's not just Elon Musk that's on Donald Trump's oligarchy roll call. It's also Peter Thiel and David Sachs, who are South African billionaires, just like Elon Musk. Wonder how those young guys became billionaires in South Africa. All right? They're on it. They want South Africa. Right? They want to divide us. It's high time to get out of America because it's going down, if you haven't noticed. Now is not the time for us to divide. Africa is having a revolution right now, sparked by Ibrahim Traore. Because of him, which is Burkina Faso, the Sahel region, now you've got Mali and Niger, now Chad, now Senegal, now the Ivory Coast, now the new president of Ghana, John Mahama, phenomenal man, is on board. ECOWAS is coming apart. The AES is rising. Even the new president of Botswana and Namibia, Africa is finally standing up for itself. As a result, France is now in an energy crisis, right? Literally, because they were exploiting Mali for uranium, which is nuclear energy, for, I think, 0.008 franc, and selling it for 200 franc per ton, right? They had enough to sell to all of Europe and Canada, making money hand over fist, simply exploiting. But Mali shut that down. Now they're developing gold refineries and all kinds of refineries, right? They're on the come up. They're kicking the French out, and now they're actually experiencing stability, right? The West doesn't like that. Now France is desperate because they screwed themselves. NATO blew up the pipeline from Russia to Europe. They ain't got energy. They ain't got this coal, and they ain't got no gas. Okay, so they need Africa in order to sustain themselves. There's a bigger play happening. Don't get distracted. Forgive everyone. Walk in love. And let's join hands and fight the real enemy, which is not your brother and sister of color.
For time immemorial, we've seen the constant online battles between the Black Americans and the Africans, in which in most of these cases we get to see that there has always been a triggering moment that has caused clash between these two communities that have much more in similarity than in difference, yet they still come out at each other as if they don't know each other. And the recent case was the case between Africans and Black Americans, when we get to see that some of the Black Americans who are commonly referring to themselves on the online platform as the foundational Black Americans had an online debate whereby they claimed that they don't have any African origins, and Africans in retaliation came out to claim that as much as these foundational Black Americans felt like they were special, they could not erase the African roots and ancestry. And this led to a massive online feud where we go to see people getting names exchanged, with Africans coming out in battalions to try and fight this narrative between them and the Black Americans. And this went on for quite some time. We get to see that to a point the Jamaicans also joined in, claiming that Black Americans were very full of pride and lazy, and this online wars between the African communities has been on for a while. And actually we're getting to a point where we're getting to see that there is a wave of change that is currently happening, with the recent case being ISHO Speed African Tour, where we're getting to see that most of these narrative that both the Africans and the African Americans have been fed for quite some time now are getting dismantled as the truth is finally coming out. And in today's episode, I have compiled episodes of Black Americans coming out to apologize to Africans. That is after the constant online wars where we're getting to see these Black Americans berating Africans. And some of these arguments, as you get to understand, came out of a point of ignorance, as we get to see that most Black Americans don't have a very clear history of Africa and how it is and how things work out in Africa. And here in Africa, we are majorly taught the history of the United States, and we have a very clear view and idea of how things work out in the United States. And so you see there is this knowledge gap between the Africans and the Black Americans, who are taught that we Africans are usually naive and unlearned, and we still live in mud huts, and we constantly interact with the wildlife. We don't have toilets. Some even believe that we still live in caves and we are very underdeveloped. And for most Black Americans, this is the picture that they have been given of their motherland. And we're getting to see that this constant brainwashing has gotten to a point that most Black Americans don't want to associate their identity with Africa. That's why you're getting to see online times like the foundational Black Americans who totally cut out the African American tag that was constantly attached to their name, in which you get to understand that it was trying to give them the identity, but with the constant brainwashing, we're getting to see that the white supremacist and the colonial mindset is actually working, and the brainwashing is becoming actively embedded in most Black Americans. But actually, a time of change is actually coming, and we're getting to see that most of these Black Americans are finally waking out. And this is thanks to the I Show Speed African tour, where we're getting to see most of this narrative that the Black Americans have been fed are actually becoming dismantled live on air. And Black Americans, for the first time in history, are getting the chance to see how Africa is actually developed. Although we are not as fully developed as the European countries are, we are still on the path to get there. And most of the major social media platforms in the United States, like the BBC, don't actually cover this part of Africa. And when they come to Africa, most of the things that they usually cover is the 3 Ds, that is diseases, death, and disasters. And this is the constant picture that has always been fed to most Black Americans and the rest of the world, with the only positive thing ever reported by most of these mainstream media platforms being the African safaris. So you see, most Black Americans or most Americans who try to come to Africa, they usually find themselves going to the safari, as they are being told that this is the only positive aspect that they can get to interact with Africa. They don't get to interact with us Africans, they get to interact with the wildlife, and this is not actually the real life here in Africa. And so for I Show Speed, we thank you once again for giving this exposure to most Black Americans, and they are finally waking up. And in this video, you are seeing that they are coming out to apologize to Africans for what they have constantly been taught by their education system about us Africans being poor and naive. And this has constantly caused the massive rift that has always been observed between these two communities, the Black Americans and we, the Africans. And actually, a time has come now whereby we're getting to see that bridges are being built, and Black Americans are finally coming to the realization that all these constant online wars that have been constant and happening on a frequent basis has always been manufactured with the aim being to ensure that we Africans always remain divided. And for the Black Americans, they are coming out to apologize to Africans for all the berating and the demeaning things they've done to us. And also for us African, we are neither innocent in this case. We've also been demeaning to the Black Americans, talking about how they lack culture. But actually, a time is coming whereby we are getting to celebrate these Black Americans, as they are becoming our beacon bearers, as they're getting to show us how a Black man can prosper in an hostile environment despite of all the challenges that they can face. And the Black Americans are becoming the epitome of the excellence and the ability of the Black man when given the right chance and resources. So these constant online feuds and war is just something designed by the white supremacists to ensure that we never come together and collaborate, as they are constantly afraid of the power that we Black individuals possess while we come together. That's why it's very common to hear Black Americans constantly dissociating from their African roots. They will rather claim to be native to the Americas, that is the United States, than accept the fact that their origins, their ancestors actually came from Africa. But a time has come whereby the truth is coming out, and we really hope that this bridge that is being built between the Black Americans and the Africans is going to last and develop to something meaningful in the near future. Well, kindly don't forget to share your thoughts, ideas, and comments with me in the comment section. Thank you once again for watching to this end, and see you in the next episode.